How you doing, everybody? It's Friday the 5th of February 2010, and it's about 3:30 in the afternoon. And I just want to touch on a couple of little subjects if I could today. The first one is they introduced an amendment to one of the finance bills yesterday in the dollar, and they had a synopsis in the various papers today about what it was about. And apart from some small things about VAT being applied to various things, one of the things that I've been going on about, and that's why I raised it, it's just interesting when you're going on about a subject and then you suddenly see how the state tries to deal with it, and it's sick. I don't think it's sick, it really is. We have a revenue commissioner. Her name is Josephine Fahey. It seems to be a nice woman. She was dragged up in front of the Dáil at a finance committee meeting last January in 2009, and they gave her a grill over they wanted information from her about the wealthy people in Ireland who were tax exiles. She told them it was 6,000. Essentially it was 6,000 people, and she fitted them into the rich and super rich category. Okay, so obviously they're not poor people. They can't they wouldn't fit into that in any way, or middle class people. So these are rich and super rich people, and she said out of the 6,000, 440 fitted into the super rich category. So what I've done is, in order for you to follow this, I've had to scan the little article, and the little article is from today's Daily Mail, okay, Ireland's Daily Mail. So I'm going to put it up now. That's the article there, okay, and you can see what I'm talking about. If you stop it there, you can have a wee read it, okay. And basically what it tells you is it's a little synopsis of the bill that was passed yesterday in the Dáil. And but one of the fascinating things is it tells you that they're introducing an annual domicile levy of €200,000, which will apply to 50 or 60 of these millionaires. So we have 6,000 of these people, and obviously the 50 or 60 that are going to have to pay the €200,000 are going to be in the super rich category, and the super rich category is defined by the Sunday Times in England, because we couldn't get this information in Ireland. Nobody tells you. It's all a closely guarded secret. Super rich people are people who generally are believed to earn more than £10 million a year. That's based on the UK. You know, they have a rich list and we have a rich list, okay. Ours is a fucking joke, but the one in the UK is pretty well researched, and they spend a lot of money on it. So Sunday Times do it, but our thing's a bit of a joke. But if you say we're talking, these 50 or 60 people are obviously going to fit into that super rich category, so they're going to pay €200,000 as this domicile levy, because their wives and their children still live in Ireland. You see, their wives and their children still live here. They have their homes and all here. Okay, they just fly in and out. But anyway, 200,000 to 10 million is 2%. So it's the usual story. It's just brown nosing them again. You know, arse licking and brown nosing these boys. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. But it's meant to placate people like you and me that would raise this. You know what I mean? If I'm going to meet up with Brian, and it's the very first thing I'm going to raise, why don't all Irish citizens pay tax? What is this? Is this some sort of a joke society? Like, ordinary people pay tax, but the super rich don't pay any tax. They're just able to fly in and out of here, like, as if, you know what I mean? Get real, will ya? Get real. But sure, we know what the story is. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can go on about it all day. They only represent one class. This Fianna Fáil crowd only represent one class of people. Alright? They grovel to them and brown nose and arse lick them on a huge scale. But when it goes wrong for them, you and I have to pick up the tab for them. And that's what's happening now. So I'm going to move on to that now. I'm going to move on to the NAMA thing. And what's happened is there's been a sort of almost like a social revolution within our certainly elements of the economists within Ireland, because this whole debacle we find ourselves in, it has focused for the first time probably in the history of most Irish people. Most Irish people now are starting to wake up and paying attention to economic matters because it impinges on them, and they're starting to pay attention to political matters because it impinges on them. And what's happened is a small group of academics, so far it's only academic economists. We've Professor Morgan Kelly up in UCD, and we have this other man now, Konstantin Gurdjieff, his name is. He looks like a film star. He's a doctor, Dr. Konstantin Gurdjieff. He's a senior lecturer down in economics in Trinity. And they've come out and they're very forthright and they don't mince words. And I think the Morgan Kelly article, I think that'll go down as one of the finest articles, economic articles, and it's just awesome. It's just truly awesome, and its insight and clarity and everything else is just, and the logic in it's flawless logic. It's just powerful. This man Gurdjieff hints at elements of that. He has, and I'm going to put it up now so you can have a read of it. And that's a scan from the Irish Daily Mail from yesterday, and it's a big article. And I had to lop the top off the thing. So what's missing of it? It tells you. There's I'll put it up on the screen. You can see it. Maybe can you read that there? It tells you how NAMA. So how NAMA is missing off the top of the article because I couldn't put it all in, and it tells you how NAMA could end up being scuppered by Europe, because we're borrowing. What's happening is we're borrowing 54 billion euros in 3 tranches. We're going to get it. I understand we're going to get it in 3 tranches. We're going to get the first tranche now, around about this time now, 18 billion, and then we're going to get a further tranche of 18 billion and a final tranche of 18 billion. Okay, and in order to get that, we had to put a business plan type thing into Europe, into the European Central Bank. Now, the bulk of that money came from 2 countries. It came from the 2 biggest countries in Europe. It came from mostly Germany, probably come from, and some of it have come from France. So you're going to have German and French economists and generally European economists looking at all that, looking at the business plan that's been put in. And the business plan that we have put together has been essentially put together by 3 men. It's been put together by Brian Linehan, Dr. Alan Ahern as his main man. We've talked about him many times, okay, and this other fella, David Seelig, alright, and obviously Linehan represents our government. Ahern to me would represent the interests of the Federal Reserve, because that's where he comes out of. He spent 7 years there as Alan Greenspan's right hand man, and this fella Seelig represents the interest of the International Monetary Fund, because that's where he's coming directly from. He's on the steering committee of the International Monetary Fund. So the Europeans are not happy with what they're seeing. So there could be lots of problems about this. But one way or another, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether we get the money from the European Central Bank or we don't get the money from the European Central Bank. We have to raise it somehow, because if we don't, those banks go to the wall. And even when we do raise the money, there's serious question marks about these leading banks, in particular AIB and Bank of Ireland, because technically they're insolvent. And even when we give them the NAMA money, we're going to have to give them another big tranche of Irish money, personal money, that we're going to have to go to the bond market to borrow. Because this money we're giving them out of NAMA, we're only guaranteeing that money. We're only guaranteeing any loss in the money. The actual money's not our money. It's European money. We're giving it to the Irish banks. And any loss, we have to stand over it. We have to underwrite the losses in it. So it's a diabolical situation. Lots of people don't want to talk about it. Lots of people don't want to address it. This is serious fucking shit going down here. This could scupper our whole little country. Never mind, he says how NAMA could end up being scuppered. This could scupper our little country. We could really have the IMF in here, big time. Now the Europeans are not likely to let that happen. We've only just joined Europe, remember. We're only full partners in Europe less than a year. So the chances of that happening are quite small. But no matter what, the fallout is not going to be good. No matter what happens, the fallout is not going to be good over all this. And we're only into this. We just entered this whole debacle. People are talking about we're coming out and we're going to have growth. Would you grow up and get real? Would you? Now we can talk more.